Jai Sri Ram, friends. Welcome to Bharat Marg. We have Dr. Adityanjee with us. Thank you, thank you, thank you. It's always a great pleasure having you, geopolitical expert friend. You cannot get better than this. And आज का टॉपिक अपना है फ्रेंच इलेक्शन में कई कितना मिस हुआ और क्यों हुआ है. ओके, इसके बारे में हमारा बातचीत होगा. ओके, huge mess in French election, okay, and demography change, okay. What is that 6% has done to the election? You have to learn. If you don't learn, that's exactly what happened last time in Bharat, and maybe a big lesson. But Dr. Adityanji will cover that more. Okay, but before going further, friends, please make sure to like the video. Like करें, comment करें, share करें वीडियो को, कितना भी ज्यादा से ज्यादा लोगों से शेयर करें दोस्तों, और ताकि हमारा जो संदेश है, डॉक्टर आदित्यन जी का जो आंसर्स है, जो मैसेज है, वो ज्यादा तक लोगों से पहुंच सकें. और दोस्तों, डॉक्टर आदित्यन जी इज अ बिजी मैन, इज अ वेरी सक्सेसफुल डॉक्टर, और उधर से आते ही इधर बैठ जाते हैं. दिस शोस हिज पैशन. ओके, so we have to share with as many people, friends, and also subscribe the channel Bharat Mar and press the notification bell to stay connected with us. And also we are involved in Sanskrit teaching, friends. Do you know we have started just now for Bhagavad Gita and Sanskrit? So learn Sanskrit through Bhagavad Gita program, okay, and many other programs we have. Okay, you will able to see a lot of good things what we do. Our classes are free. We are going to start Vedic mathematics pretty soon for the children, so that they can do mathematics very early. Our rishis and munis, whatever they have done is incredible in the Vedic mathematics area, but we should not lose the roots. That's one of the reason why we are working, friends. Okay, so last but not the least, we are also involved in Gau Seva, Gaudan, Annadan, Puja, etc. So if you like what we are doing in Dharma Prachar, friends, you can subscribe to our WhatsApp message too, okay, which is free for getting one dharmic message a day, and you can get in the language of your choice. And you can also support us by sharing this video, and also don't forget, you can donate us. Okay, here is the WhatsApp number, and please contact us if you like what we are doing, and please donate us because we need your support. Okay, thank you. Dr. Adityan ji, 6% का कमाल, election mess.
Actually, it is very complicated, and I will explain to you, since you refer to demography.
Winner become the loser, loser become the winner.
It is like that, actually. So France has a population of 68 million.
Mm-hmm.
Out of this, 66 million live in France proper, and 2 million live in overseas territories, what they called overseas departments.
Uh-huh.
So out of this 68 million, 5 to 6 million people in France are from what is called Maghreb countries. And these are mainly Algeria, Tunisia, and Morocco.
Mm-hmm. Well, they are living there. They can vote in the France election.
Yeah,
French
they
election.
have been living there, and they have become kind of, citizenship or all that kind of thing. So that is around 7 to 9% of the population. That is as far as demography is concerned.
Mm-hmm.
It's like all the European countries. In France, the birth rate was going down till 1990.
Mm-hmm.
And suddenly the birth rate picked up. And
From a community.
and 2020, the birth rate is now 1.83, the total fertility rate. You need 2.1 total fertility rate for the population replacement, population to be stable.
Wow.
So what is the reason for sudden improvement in TFR for France is the immigrant population.
Mm-hmm.
At this point in time, 11% of all children born in France have two non-French parents.
Wow.
11% children. So that is beginning of demographic change. In fact, the demographic change is not the cause of the current results. Cause is something different, which I will discuss with you.
Sure, sure.
So let me explain. The last National Assembly election was held in 2022, and you had a hung assembly. President Macron, who is now in second term from 2022, his coalition, which has 3 or 4 parties, lost the absolute majority in the National Assembly, which has 577 seats. So in 2022, they got only 245. So
Yeah, here you can see the sheet sharing too.
this is the current one. This is the current one, but I'm talking about 2022.
Sure, sure, sure.
So what happened that there were European Parliament elections recently, and in the European Parliament elections, the far right party called National Rally, RN, they won. And this caused consternation for Macron, who decided to call for a sudden snap election of National Assembly because he wanted to prevent this trend ongoing. He wanted to catch the growth of RN further. You know, technically, the National Assembly elections were not due till 2027. So, calling a snap election, and France has a very complicated first past the post system. There are single member constituencies. So, after 577 seats in the National Assembly, you need a majority of 289. And the way the candidates are elected is that if in the first round of voting, which happened on June 30th, you get either absolute majority or you get more than 25% of the votes cast.
Otherwise, you will be eliminated.
Otherwise, you have what is called runoff election, which was held 7 days later on Sunday, July the 7th. So out of 577 seats, in 501 seats, 501 seats, runoff elections were called for. Only 76 candidates won in the first round.
Wow.
So that is number one observation. It was widely expected by all the opinion polls that far right party, National Rally of Marine Le Pen, will win the majority. So if you see the first round of voting, there are multiple blocks. Actually, there were 4 blocks. 4 गठबंधन थे. So one block or coalition is of the leftist party. It was called New Popular Front, and it was very quickly cobbled up to defeat the far right. New Popular Front has 4 main constituents. One of them is Socialist Party. Second is Communist Party. Third is the Green Party or the Ecologists. And one also group, which is also a leftist group. The second coalition is a centrist coalition in which Macron's party called Renaissance is a part. And this coalition is called Ensemble. And Ensemble has 3 or 4 constituents, which include the Renaissance Party, the Democratic Movement, and Horizons. And then the third coalition is basically the National Rally, the far right party, which supported some candidates of the Republican Party or LR, causing a split in the LR. So it became a very complicated situation. Now, after first round, you had 501 seats, that was supposed to go for runoff. Out of those 501 seats,
Mhm.
the way qualification is that in the second round, the top two candidates go for contesting the election, and any candidates who gets more than 12.5% of the votes. So technically, the runoff election can be, two-way contest, three-way contest, four-way contest.
Mhm.
Because if four candidates qualify more than 12.5%, all four will go, and whoever gets the majority first past the vote will be elected. So here comes a very interesting thing. Of the 501 constituencies that went for the runoff, 190 had two-way contests, 306 had three-way contest, and 5 seats had two-way contests. So what happens between June 30th and July 7th? Looking at the results, President Macron hobnobbed with the leftist coalition, with communists and socialists and new popular front, and they made some tactical decisions, and likes of this you see in India.
Like India Alliance.
Yeah, like India Alliance, in one state they supported one party's candidate, in another state they. So what they did a tactical withdrawal. They
Mhm.
were almost 202 politicians, 222 politicians. Despite being on the ballot, they withdrew their names. And when they withdrew their names, out of 306, 306 three-way contests, only 89 were left as three-way contests.
Wow.
Everything became bipolar contest between
Right and the left.
right and the left, or centrist versus the left. So what happens after the second round of polling, and you had projected those figures, so you had New Popular Front get around 180 or 182 seats, depending upon which version of results you are looking at. So they are the topmost out of 577.
Mhm.
They, in the last election, this grouping had received only 131 seats. So their seats increased by 49.
Wow.
You look at the centrist coalition called Ensemble. In 2022, they had won 245 seats,
Mhm.
and now they have 160 or 163 seats, something like that.
Mhm.
So their seats actually went down by 86%.
Right.
Now I am going to go to the third thing, which is their vote share. Now you look at the vote share. The New Popular Front, the leftist coalition, in the first round of voting got only 28.2% of the vote.
Mhm.
So in first round, their vote share increased by 2.5%. But in second round of voting, their vote share came down to 2.58%, which was actually even declined from their vote share in 2022.
Wow.
So they are the largest bloc, but in second round of polling, runoff elections, their vote share went down by almost 6%. You look at Ensemble. Ensemble in the first round got 21.28% of the votes,
Mhm.
which was decline of 4.4% from 2022. In second round, their vote share was 24.53%, and that was a decline of 14% from 2022.
Mhm.
And their seats went down. Now let's look at the far right, the National Rally Party. How many seats the National Rally Party got in 2022? they got 89 seats. How many seats they got now? They got 142 seats.
Mm-hmm.
They have a massive increase of 53 seats.
Right.
Their vote share in the first round was 33.2%, which was an increase of 14% from 2022. In second round, they got 37.06% of the vote. That is 19.76% increase. Mind you, in 2024 Lok Sabha elections in India, BJP got how many percent of the vote? 37% of the votes.
Right.
Labour Party in UK in House of Commons elections, 33% of the vote, they got 412 seats. Here is the party that is getting 37% of the votes. And in number of seats is still number 3. But that number 3 position still means 53% increase in the votes.
Right.
53 number 53 increase in the number of seats.
Seats, yeah.
Now the last party, the Republican Party, in 2022, they got 64 seats. This time they got only 39 seats. So their seats declined by 25.
Mm-hmm.
Their vote share declined to 6.5% in first round. That is a decline from 2022 of 4.72. And in second round, their vote share was only 5.41%. So if you look at these trends, the only party that is increasing its vote share and number of seats is the far right National Rally Party.
Right.
All of them lost their vote share. 2 of them lost the number of seats. New Popular Fund did get increase in seats because of the tactical voting.
Mm-hmm.
Because of this alliance between Macron and his centrist ensemble and New Popular Front, when they withdrew 222 candidates, making three-way contest two-way. It was politically immoral because immediately after the elections, the New Popular Front and their chairperson, Jean-Luc Mélenchon, said that people earning more than 400,000 euros per year will get 90% tax rate, income tax rate.
फ्रांस में तो टैक्स तो ऐसा भी है ही ना.
तो वैसे भी ज्यादा है, लेकिन अगर आप 90% टैक्स रेट करेंगे तो who would want to earn that kind of money?
Right. Why will you work hard to?
Yeah, nobody is going to work hard. You are going to increase the minimum wage and things like that. So totally lunatic leftist policies, all that sort of thing. So now you have a hung assembly. The president writes a letter, open letter to the population of France and to the elected parliament members to come to some sort of agreement to keep National Rally out of power. He has refused to accept the resignation of the current prime minister, who is from Ensemble, and his name is, I think, Gabriel Attal. Asked him to continue in the role. And President Macron is trying very hard not to let a communist or a leftist or from the New Popular Front person become the prime minister. So by calling this snap elections,
Mm-hmm.
hobnobbing with the communists and leftists, Macron has subjected France to a period of instability and uncertainty.
Absolutely. But can I have a question to you,
Yes.
Doctor? It is being said, okay, from the information what we are getting, that after the left party, won, there is a huge excitement in the community, and they are going gangbuster like what is happening in Calcutta, in Bengal.
Well, because they are their allies, and just like there is tactical voting in India, that in this particular state you support this party, of course, the jihadists are in bed with the French leftists, so they are very
And
happy
they don't like Macron, but they
because
voted for it because of the left party.
again the issue is that Macron is a centrist. Macron was hoping that he will checkmate the far right by calling snap elections and will prevent further growth of the French far right. Now, he may have temporarily succeeded, you know, in the sense that the projections, just like in India, you have opinion polls, you know, exit polls, which came all wrong. The so called expectations and opinion polls that far right party will win the majority, that did not happen. And why that did not happen? Because of the last minute tactical voting and tactical withdrawal by candidates belonging to the leftist parties as well as Macron's centrist party. It's not that Macron likes the leftist parties, but he hates the
Right,
national rally
right party.
so much that he was willing to go into bed with the leftists.
Hmm.
In France, there's a particular term used in the past. Unlike other European nations, the French system is presidential system. So usually the executive power remains with the president, and parliament comes subsidiary or secondary. And usually what used to happen that, the socialists will win the presidency and the conservatives or, uh, you know, de Gaullists, which were conservatives and centrists, they would win this and this would be called parliament and it will be called cohabitation. Now, since failure of last three presidencies, the conservative presidency of Sarkozy, Nicolas Sarkozy, followed by Hollande, who was a socialist politician, and prior to Nicolas Sarkozy, even Jacques Chirac. These were kind of failed presidencies. French people voted for a populist president who was young, who, when he won the presidential elections for the first time, for the first term, did not have a party. And after winning the presidential elections, he started his own party, which is now called Renaissance, and it's essentially a centrist party. So leftists have no love lost for Macron. Islamists have no love lost for Macron. And Macron created this mess by calling the snap elections.
But he is not losing. He will hang on to the position anyway, so it's not affecting him.
Well, the thing is that he may not be able to pass any legislation. And that becomes a problem for governing. You need to pass the legislation. And if there is a hung assembly or hung parliament, or like we call Trishanku parliament, nothing gets achieved. We have seen such experiments happen in Bharat, the decade of 1990s and early 2000s. There was a lot of stalemate, stagnation, legislations could not be passed, all that kind of thing. and sometimes you have to go through ordinance route because you cannot pass the legislation. Now if this hung parliament continues, right now they even cannot come to the conclusion who is going to be the prime minister, because there is going to be horse trading.
Hmm.
Worst kind of horse trading. There will be attempts to break the coalitions, to have a majority combination for a new prime minister to be appointed. So it's a very, very peculiar situation which Macron has brought about on himself. And by French constitution, another election cannot be held for at least another year.
Another year.
Yes. So you may have to have this uncertainty for a year. Now there's a speculation because French constitution allows president to contest only or serve for only 2 terms. If Macron resigns prematurely, he could technically contest again for his second term because the second term was not completed. So he may beat the constitution by at some point in time, but it doesn't look like that he'll be able to win. Things have gone out of his control.
Now, the French people, they feel betrayed, or how? What is happening, right?
It's a mixed reaction. It's a very mixed reaction.
Because Jigadis are celebrating, and they are celebrating like Bengal way.
Yes, they are celebrating, and communists and leftists are celebrating that they got the maximum number of seats, 182. That's not enough to give you a majority of 289 in a parliament of 577. So they need support from centrist party to be able to govern. And there will be some horse trading. Macron does not want a member of the new Popular Front to become the prime minister. He will do his level best to tear asunder this new Popular Front. Okay? He may not be able to work with.
My question is, now during the election he aligned with the left. Will he align with the right to get the prime minister?
Well, he may ally with, let's say, the Republicans, who have around, I think, 39 or 40 seats to their credit. So he may do that. But still, his seats are only 159
Right.
or 168, depending upon what version you are looking at. So another 40 seats, 168, it is 210. You still need 289. And the bad blood between the National Rally Party of Marine Le Pen and Macron is so much that instead of relying on the far right, what he will do that he will try to break the New Popular Front. And I told you the constituents of New Popular Front: communists, socialists, the Greens, and an ultra, you know,
And the Islamists are also a significant position. Means they are 6% of the population.
they have that is the population, but I'm just talking about the parties.
Right.
The parties I'm talking about, and that's the
And
vote.
they control the party too, right?
They don't control the party in that sense. They are supporters, but they are not in leadership position. So we have to understand where it is going and what will happen that if Macron works out a deal with the Greens, okay, and the socialists, he may be able to, because Greens have 28 MPs
Mm-hmm.
and socialists have 59. So 60 plus, that will be around almost like, 87 MPs in addition to his 168.
Yeah, but that doesn't cross the mark, right?
That still does not cross the marks, and then he may work with the Republicans who have 40 seats. So he will isolate the extreme left and extreme right, which is National Rally, and cobble a working coalition of socialists, the Greens, and the Republicans along with ensemble.
And I have a last question for you, Dr. Sab. We are off the time. I have
Mhm.
last question for you. Now, what Bharat can learn from this election? Number one. Number two is, what kind of impact it will have on the French people in general.
See, French
The,
people,
the, the right is vigorated now. Right is pretty growing mode now. Will they able to disturb the whole thing, or they will be quiet now?
your questions are two separate questions, and I'll focus first on the French issue because Bharat does not have to learn from France. Let me put it very bluntly. French people have to learn from their own experience. Bharatiya people or Indian people have to learn from their own experiences because we have this kind of problems for a long period of time. So it's the other
No,
way
I
round.
mean to say that 6% went with one side, and
Yeah,
beat,
I mean, this is happening in Bharat all the time.
yeah,
So we
beat the heck out of the winning party.
don't have to learn anything from France. This is a known thing. This is a known phenomenon. This happens in US. This happens in Canada. This happens in UK. This happens worldwide. The tactical voting
Right.
based on religious affiliation. So there's nothing to learn about it. But let's say what is going to be the impact on French society. Yes, the left is jubilant that they have largest number of seats. The jihadi elements in France are jubilant that their supported party, who is going to guard them, and they have already put out with their list of demands and all, they are jubilant. But 37% of the vote share to a single party, National Rally Party, that is an absolute phenomenon. You really cannot, you know,
Ignore.
you cannot just, say this is nonsense. They have the third largest seats. They have the largest number of vote share. Their vote share in the second round actually increased by 19.7%.
Hmm.
And if you see the evolution of the far right party in French politics, this National Rally Party, it is a reincarnation of an ultra rightist party which Marine Le Pen's father started, Jean-Marie Le Pen. And he was a perpetual presidential candidate, and I think in 2002 elections he is surprised by getting a very large chunk of vote share. And because the French people did not like the racist and absolute Nazi-like policies of Jean-Marie Le Pen, his daughter took over the leadership and she reformed the party into more mainstream, more democratic party rather than a Nazi-like party. So you are seeing actually metamorphosis of National Rally, the far right party, which is making it acceptable to mainstream France, which is seeing actually their country going to dog. When school teachers are being beheaded in school by pupils belonging to a particular faith, what happens on the roads when the roads are blocked? Openly defiant demonstrations are done. French people are now in a polarized state, and this is a trend with gradual increase in vote share of the far right party. 37% of the votes, which is the largest vote share by any party, including Macron's Renaissance party. So just do not rejoice yet. And I tell you, 1996, BJP had the largest number of seats. Atal Bihari Vajpayee was called to form the government. Lasted 13 days, could not get support in parliament, went and resigned. What happened after that? You cobbled up some coalitions. In 1998, BJP and NDA came back to power. Same phenomenon is happening. French parties are boycotting, isolating National Rally Party, and it is growing by leaps and bounds.
National Rally Party, is there a chance for them to align with Republican? Then also they don't make it.
Still, they don't have enough. They still don't have
But
enough.
anyway, it's a mess. What you said, Dr. Saab, it's
It is a
absolutely
mess
right.
created by Macron. I mean, the guy is a little childish. He took a very, very impulsive decision, not a well thought. He had working majority. His ensemble had 245 seats, still minority, but they were able to govern. But he got so scared of the European Parliament elections that he decided to check the growth of far right party by creating dangerous scenarios. This will happen, catastrophic scenarios, all that sort of thing.
Absolutely.
Now, for time being, it's a tactical defeat for National Rally Party. Tactical defeat because they outmaneuvered by ganging up, by withdrawal of candidates in second round runoff round elections. But how long can you sustain this?
Absolutely.
This hung parliament will not be able to govern. Most likely after a year there'll be another national election, and who knows who will come to power at that time.
Maybe right will come out also.
Well, by all indications, this is what I'm telling you. Their vote percentage is going up and up.
Right.
Yeah, they made some mistakes, just like BJP made some mistakes and had wrong choice of candidates and made some bombastic statements. They have made those mistakes. But mind you, they had very defined leadership. Marine Le Pen herself was not going to become the prime minister if the party got the majority.
She will be the kingmaker.
She was the kingmaker. The projected candidate was a 28-year-old, 28-year young guy, Bordella, Jordan Bordella, who went on record to say, I will not become the prime minister if I get less than 289 seats. Very principalistic, moralistic stand that I am not going to indulge in horse trading. Now everybody else is doing horse trading to form a government, and French have become a laughing stock.
Absolutely. So thank you very much, Dr. Saab, for coming in and sharing your wisdom. Like always, wanted to say thank you, friends. What do you think? French election mess. Okay, it's Europe is unraveling. That's for sure. What do you think about it? Comment here and let us know. And looking forward to seeing you again. Till then, thank you, Dr. Saab. Thank you very much for joining us.
My
Hare
pleasure.
Krishna. Hare Krishna.